welcome. I'm Ijoma Onyato. Tonight, countdown to the inauguration. President Jonathan presents handover notes to General Muhammadu Buhari, expresses confidence in the leadership of the president-elect. Nigeria's Minister of Agriculture, Akinwumi Adesina, emerges president of the African Development Bank, beats 7 other contenders to clinch position. NDLEA ends siege to the residence of Buruji Kashamu as supporters of the senator-elect troop to his home in jubilation. And EU suspends election monitoring mission in Burundi, cites media restrictions and climate of intimidation as reasons.
In business news tonight, Industrial Training Fund Skills Gap Survey to pave way for employment and economic growth.
And on sports news, FIFA President Sepp Blatter refuses to quit amid growing political pressure over a corruption scandal.
The President-elect, Muhammadu Buhari, says the telephone call by President Goodluck Jonathan to him after the presidential election changed the course of Nigeria's political history. According to him, by that decision, President Jonathan not only saved the nation from chaos, but also affirmed the system of multi-party democracy in the country. The President-elect spoke after a familiarization tour of the presidential villa and his acceptance of the handover notes from President Jonathan. Our State House correspondent Chukwuma Onekusi has the story, but we'd like to warn our viewers that the following video contains flash photography.
Like a tour guide, the outgoing president here takes General Muhammadu Buhari around some of the strategic areas in the presidential villa so as to get him acclimatized before taking over. From the new banquet hall, one of the structures the Jonathan administration has bequeathed to future generation. It didn't take time and they were done with going round the adjoining offices.
That is the kitchen side outside.
The two walked the long stretch from the banquet hall to retire upstairs for also a trip of the offices there, but our camera was not allowed to go that far. In the same vein, Vice President Namadi Sambo took the incoming Vice President, Professor Yemi Oshibajo, round the Vice Presidential wing, also to show him what is where. After the tour, everyone converged on the council chambers where journalists and a battery of cameramen had lined up for the briefing. Also present were the outgoing ministers in the Jonathan administration and some other APC chieftains and officials that came with the president and vice president-elect. Secretary to the government, the chairman of the APC Transition Committee and Vice President Namadi Sambo midwife the transition notes. They said they have been on the same page.
And opportunities for all citizens must remain the primary objectives of government.
As if to summarize the notes, President Goodluck Jonathan, from a 15-page speech, reeled out what his administration has done, what they were to do, and the ones he would even want the Buhari's administration to implement.
Congratulations. This is a document that was compiled by Nigerians, the main report of the National Conference 2014. We gathered almost 500 Nigerians from all aspects of life. They were not influenced by government in any way. And most of the recommendations here, if it is followed, most of our gray areas, even in our politics, will be smoothed out. Most of the areas where people complain so bitterly, corruption, everything, these documents deals with them. Some people here were members of that great body of about 500 eggheads. We were unable to, because of the shortness of time to implement. We've sent a copy to the National Assembly. But it's a document that we are very hopeful that your government will look into it and give it the attention it requires. So also, it's my pleasure on behalf of the Vice President and members of the Federal Executive Council, and other senior government functionaries, and especially the committee, the conference members that developed this report. It's the baby of the nation. It's my pleasure to hand over this also to you.
The President-elect Muhammadu Buhari said his response will be until he studies the notes. For him, one thing stands out about Dr. Goodluck Jonathan. He told the path of honor to save the country, Nigeria.
Until I read and digest the voluminous submissions from His Excellency the President, I don't think I'll be in a position to make any strong contribution. But what I have been saying since that famous telephone call you made, you have changed the course of Nigerian political history. And for that, you have earned yourself a place in our history for stabilizing this system of multi-party democratic system. And you have earned the respect of not only Nigerians, but the world leaders. All the leaders that spoke to me and congratulated us for arriving at the point we arrived mentioned this. And I could understand a lot of relief in their voices that Nigeria has made it after all. And this is largely owing to your statesmanship. If you attempted to make things difficult, you could. You could have made things difficult. And that would have been at the expense of lives of poor Nigerians. You choose the path of honor, and may God help all of us. Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
The two leaders got a standing ovation for what so far has been a smooth transition. Nigerians will be watching to see how Buhari will handle everything that has been handed over to him. But no doubt political watchers will be saying that these two leaders have set a precedence that the future generations will live to remember. Chukwuma Onwekuse, Channels Television News.
Well, that presentation happened after the president-elect returned from the United Kingdom. While in the UK, Mr. Buhari visited the British Prime Minister, David Cameron. The president-elect's return to the country was also without fanfare, but it was captured by an eyewitness reporter. The photograph was taken in what appears to be a premium economy class, or at best a club-class cabin, on board a British Airways flight from London to Abuja. That may just be a subtle but firm signal of what should be expected in his administration. Our eyewitness reporter puts it that the era of squandering might just be over, and Nigerians should be ready to make sacrifices to return the country to its glory days. Now it's less than 24 hours to a change of baton which would herald a new administration in Nigeria. Last-minute preparations are ongoing in the nation's capital city as security operatives and the organizers of the ceremony are working to bring about a seamless inauguration ceremony. Our correspondent Linda Akigbe reports.
It's not a spectacle you see often in the federal capital city. For days to the presidential inauguration, the streets of Abuja have been decorated in readiness for the ceremony. We head to the venue proper, where the presidential inauguration ceremony is to take place.
We are at the Eagle Square in Abuja, where we're trying to look at the preparations for Friday's inauguration ceremony. Now, workers are still trying to put last-minute touches to the Eagle Square, and even this is the stage where the president-elect tomorrow will be climbing on, and he will take the oath of office, which will be administered by the Chief Justice of Nigeria. But as you can see, work is still going on in the stage. Now, this is also where the heads of states and heads of governments would all gather, as well as other distinguished guests, to all take part in the inauguration ceremony.
The Eagle Square is wearing a new look. Decorations have been arranged, pictures of the president and vice president-elect displayed, lights and sound equipment strategically set. Several media organizations could be seen setting up their equipment. On a stage which has been put up, a group is rehearsing. However, one of the organizers of the inauguration ceremony, Representative Abike Dabiri, told Channels Television that the event is expected to be low-key.
Yes, there's reason to celebrate, but at the same time, we realize the mood of the nation, the situation of our economy, and the way we are as a nation. So we're not being flamboyant, and there's no unnecessary extravagance, but we'll have a seamless transition and tight, well-packaged, well-arranged, and we hope our guests will all be happy at the end of it all.
Abuja, the city center, has been the scene of no less than 2 bomb attacks in less than 2 years. Therefore, security is a concern for the organizers of the inauguration ceremony. We spoke with the police spokesman, who told us what security measures is being put in place in the capital city and nationwide.
We're deploying boats on air and on land. A lot of patrol vehicles will be on ground. Our animal branch, horses and dogs will also be on ground. And very many plainclothes detectives and intelligence officers will be around to make sure no untoward event happens tomorrow.
May 29th is a day which many Nigerians are eagerly looking forward to. To some of them, it represents a day which would herald the much-anticipated change, which has been the rallying cry of the incoming administration.
Everybody has been yearning for that change, and I think this is the best time the change has really come.
Expectations are high, I must tell you that, because at this point in our nation history, it seemed like hopes are all dashed. But with his victory, there's a ray of hope.
He has to try as much as possible to set a template to discourage corruption.
Many Nigerians would not be at the Eagle Square to witness the presidential inauguration ceremony. But wherever they may be on May 29th, Nigerians have made their voices loud and clear through the ballot that they are desirous of a new administration which would make life better for the people. Linda Akibe, Channels Television News.
In part 2, after the break, we take a look at the legacy of President Jonathan in the areas of the anti-corruption fight and security. That's in a moment. Do join us again.